God is in tears. God has been trying to reach you for hours with a warning from heaven. This is your final chance to listen before it's too late. Right now, heaven is trembling. The heart of God is aching because you haven't been listening. Not truly, not with your whole heart. And this isn't just another word to brush off or scroll past. Miss this, and you will miss your breakthrough. Miss this, and you will walk away from the miracle God had planned for you. I urge you, don't turn away now. This is heaven's cry. This is God's final plea. Stay with this till the very last word, or you will lose something very precious, meant for you alone. Comment Amen if you can feel the weight of this. Heaven needs to know you're still listening. God has been calling out to you again and again. Not to punish you, not to shame you, but to protect you. There's a spiritual storm you haven't seen coming. A trap laid out by the enemy. God saw it forming long before you did. He tried to whisper, then he tried to nudge. Then he sent signs, but you were too distracted, too worn down, too busy trying to hold everything together in your own strength. And now he's in tears, not because you failed him, but because he loves you so deeply, and the time is running out to turn back. If you're reading this, that means he hasn't given up on you. It means he still believes you will listen. This is your final chance, not because he wants to scare you, but because he wants to save you. He's been watching the weight on your shoulders, the tears you cry alone, the nights when fear presses on your chest like 1,000 pounds. He has been with you even then, and now he is raising his voice, calling your soul back to safety. Please don't turn away. God knows the battles you've been silently fighting, the heaviness you couldn't explain to anyone. The feeling that something's wrong, but you don't know what. That's because your spirit has been under attack and you've been unaware. There's a warning from heaven because a spiritual shift is happening. You are standing at the edge of a turning point. And if you don't move with God now, you'll move with what's trying to destroy you. Comment 1 if you believe this message found you right on time. You've been chosen, set apart, and loved beyond measure. But that doesn't mean you're safe if you ignore God's voice. He gives free will, and today that will is being tested. You may think you'll get another chance tomorrow. But what if this is the last one? What if this moment right now is the final open door before the one behind you shuts forever? God doesn't operate on our clocks. He works in divine timing, and his clock has reached a warning hour. You are not meant to carry this battle alone. The enemy has tried to convince you that God forgot you, that heaven is silent. But God says, I have been reaching for you all along. He sees the pain you've buried. He knows the cries you've swallowed. But he is a God who redeems time. He can rebuild what was lost, restore what was stolen, and revive what the enemy tried to kill inside you. But only if you let him in. He is not mad at you. He is heartbroken for you because he sees what's coming if you stay disconnected. He knows how fragile the ground beneath you is becoming. He's been sending dreams people, even this video, not to impress you, but to intercept the enemy's plans. And now he's saying, will you finally listen? Will you finally let go of your pride, your fear, your guilt, and just come back home? There's a shift happening in the spirit. That's why everything around you has felt shaky. You've been sensing something, haven't you? That's not paranoia. That's not anxiety. That's spiritual sensitivity. Your soul knows that something is off, that the hour is urgent. That's not random. That's divine alert. God has been placing this heaviness in your heart, because He wants to prepare you, not punish you. This is the part where you need to understand something vital. There are blessings that are time-sensitive. There are doors that don't stay open forever. There are moments where you must move in obedience, even if you are afraid. If you delay, you risk stepping out of alignment with what God was preparing just for you. He isn't calling you out. He's calling you up higher, closer, safer. He has not abandoned you, but you have been surrounded by the wrong voices. You've been pulled into things that dulled your spirit and distracted your purpose. And now He's saying, "My child, come out of the noise. Come back to me." You've been fighting battles that weren't even yours to fight because you didn't stay under His covering. But He still wants to cover you, still wants to fight for you, still wants to bless you. He just needs your heart back. Let me tell you, God's presence hasn't left. You have, but you can return right now. Even with the shame, even with the questions, even with the brokenness, He is still a miracle-working God. The God who split the sea, the God who brought fire down from heaven, the God who raised the dead. He is still that same God, and He is standing at the door of your heart, knocking tearfully, waiting, because He won't force His way in. You have to open the door. I'm begging you. Don't take this lightly. Don't scroll past like it's just another thing. This is your warning, your lifeline. Heaven sent this to rescue you. There are blessings waiting on the other side of your obedience. There are breakthroughs tied to your surrender. You may not see the full picture now, but trust this: if God is this urgent, it's for a reason. What you do next matters more than you know. Every tear you cried in secret, He counted them. Every moment you felt abandoned, He was right there. Every time you questioned your worth, He whispered, "You're still mine." He hasn't stopped loving you, not for a single second. Even now, with tears in His eyes, He is hoping you'll just respond. Not perfectly, just sincerely. You're not reading this by accident. You didn't stumble on this out of coincidence. Heaven orchestrated this moment because God has been trying to get through to you, and you've been too overwhelmed, too distracted, too tired to hear it before now. But now you're here. And now the truth is standing in front of you. God is not trying to take something from you. He's trying to save something in you, your calling, your soul, your future. Something precious is hanging in the balance, and if you ignore this, it might not survive what's coming. Comment 222 if you trust God is reaching out to you in this very moment. You've been feeling the weight of things you can't explain. That pressure, that spiritual restlessness, that odd heaviness that's been sitting on your chest or in the pit of your stomach, that's not random. That's the tension between heaven's pull and the world's grip. Your spirit has been hearing the warning, even if your mind hasn't understood it. The unease you feel is divine. God is shaking things not to break you, but to wake you. Because time is short, and He knows what's at stake if you delay. The truth is, you've grown numb to the urgency. Life has worn you out. The enemy has dulled your senses. You've started calling the chaos normal. And God is saying no more. You weren't meant to live in this confusion. You weren't built to survive by your own strength. You were made to walk in His light, under His protection, and with His power. But when you step out of alignment with His voice, you step out of the shelter of His presence. That's where the danger begins. God isn't angry at you. He's hurting for you. because He remembers the childlike faith you used to have. He remembers when your prayers were real, when your worship wasn't forced, when your heart was soft and your spirit was open. Somewhere along the way, you got tired, hurt, disappointed. Life bruised your soul, and you started slowly shutting down inside. Not intentionally, but day by day you stopped listening, stopped hoping, stopped expecting Him to show up. And He's been waiting patiently, lovingly, silently, watching you drift further. But now silence has broken. Now the heavens are speaking clearly. Now the Father is calling your name, and He's not whispering anymore. This is your moment to return. This is your moment to choose, because what's coming will either crush you or carry you, depending on who you are walking with. You've tried walking alone. You've tried carrying it all in your own strength. And it's left you tired, bitter, lost. But God is offering something different. He's offering peace, direction, healing, restoration. You don't have to be perfect to come back. You don't have to fix yourself before you open the door. He wants you as you are, with the broken pieces, with the baggage, with the doubts and the fears and the confusion. God can work with honesty. He can move through surrender. But what He can't do is force His way into a heart that refuses to listen. That's why this moment matters, because you're still being given a choice. Comment 333 to declare your faith, even if it's small right now. There is still mercy waiting for you. There is still grace covering you. There is still a future full of favor and blessing and peace. But you have to step into it. You have to say yes. You have to come home. God has already prepared the road, the table, the robe, and the ring. Just like the father in the story of the prodigal son, He's not standing with a lecture. He's waiting with open arms. But the son still had to choose to walk back. This is that moment for you. You are not too far gone. No matter what you've done, no matter how much time has passed, no matter how ashamed you feel, God says you're still mine. He hasn't stopped loving you for a second. The enemy has tried to convince you that God moved on, that you're forgotten, that your mistakes have erased your future. But the devil is a liar. If you were beyond reach, this message wouldn't exist. You are being pursued by a love that never gives up. God is weeping not because He's weak, but because He loves deeply, because you matter to Him, because He sees what's waiting for you if you'll just surrender. There's healing in His hands. There's provision in His promises. There's strength in His name. But it's only for those who answer the call. You can't serve two masters. You can't live halfway in the light and halfway in the dark. That's why the pressure has increased. That's why your spirit has felt unsettled. Because God won't let you stay where you are. He has more for you. But you must stop pretending you're fine. You must stop brushing off the warnings. The time is now. The gate is narrow and the hour is late. This is not a season to play with sin, to ignore conviction, to silence the spirit. This is the time to get serious about your soul, about your eternity. Because not everyone gets this chance, and not everyone will hear this call. You are closer than you think to something massive, not just a shift in your emotions or your mood, but a spiritual moment that changes your life from this point forward. But you can't afford to miss it. God has been calling your name in 1,000 quiet ways, through the silence at night, through the people around you, even through this very word right now. And His voice is growing louder, not because He's growing angry, but because He's desperate for you to hear. There is something about to break open, and if you stay asleep, you'll miss what was meant to set you free. Comment 555 if you feel your spirit stirring right now. The devil has been busy trying to distract you. That's why the attacks have been so specific. That's why your mind has felt under pressure. That's why old wounds have been resurfacing and familiar temptations have come back around. It's not because you're weak. It's because you're close to something. The enemy doesn't fight what isn't a threat. You are a threat to darkness. You are chosen. And that calling you carry, it's not something you gave yourself. It came from heaven. But if the enemy can't destroy your purpose, he'll try to delay it by making you deaf to God's voice. You don't need to be perfect to move forward. You just need to be willing. Willing to pause. Willing to open your heart again. Willing to drop the pride, the excuses, the hardness that's crept in. God doesn't bless pretense. He blesses honesty. And right now, He wants you to know that the pain you've been carrying has never gone unseen. The silent battles, the fake smiles, the sleepless nights, He's been there through all of it, aching with you. But He's not calling you to sit in it forever. He's calling you to rise. You've got to make a decision. You can't keep living in between. Lukewarm won't protect you in the days ahead. Either you step fully into God's covering, or you stay exposed to the chaos around you. There's no middle ground anymore. The days we're walking into are not normal. This world is shifting spiritually, morally, emotionally. Everything is shaken. And if you're not rooted in Him, you will fall with it. That's not fear. That's truth. And God is crying because He doesn't want that for you. He wants to hold you again. He wants to walk with you again. He wants to show you the favor and breakthrough and blessing that have been waiting on the other side of your surrender. You've been trying to force peace through your own plans, and it hasn't worked. That's because peace isn't found in control. Peace is found in obedience, in trust, in laying it all down and saying, God, I don't have all the answers, but I choose you anyway. Comment 1212 if you feel like you're being called back to Him. There is a depth of joy you've never touched because you've been too afraid to let go. There's a strength you haven't known yet because you've relied on yourself for too long. God isn't just asking for your belief. He's asking for your heart, all of it. The broken parts, the confused parts, the bitter parts, He can work with all of it. But He won't work around your silence. You have to answer. You have to respond. Look around. Everything feels louder, faster, more chaotic. That's not random. The world is spiritually loud because the enemy knows time is short. But in the middle of all that noise, God still speaks in stillness. And right now, in the quiet of your soul, He's speaking again. Gently but firmly, come back to me. He hasn't moved. He's still where you left Him. He's still waiting for the moment you finally fall into His arms and say, I'm done running. He knows how tired you are. You don't have to keep pretending. You don't have to keep smiling while your soul is aching. He made you. He knows your patterns. He sees the tension between what you show and what you feel. But He wants to heal what's underneath. He wants to rebuild your foundation. And He's not just offering a feeling, He's offering a transformation. The pain you've walked through hasn't been wasted. The storms you've survived weren't pointless. Everything the enemy meant for harm, God still intends to use for good. But the process requires your yes, not a maybe, not a later. not when it's convenient. Now, while the window is still open, while the door is still cracked, because one day it won't be. And this isn't about fear. It's about timing. You were born for such a time as this. You were not an accident. Your breath is proof that heaven still has plans for you. But the plans of God require the posture of surrender. The deeper you go into His presence, the more clearly you'll see what the enemy was trying to hide. You haven't lost your purpose. You've just been disconnected from your power source. And it's time to plug back in. The love God has for you hasn't changed. He still calls you His. He still sees you as His child. Even after all the detours, the mistakes, the silence, there is nothing you've done that disqualifies you from returning to Him. Nothing. That's why grace exists. That's why the cross still stands. Because Jesus already paid for the shame you're carrying. You just have to lay it down. If you knew what heaven had in store for you, you would run back without hesitation. But faith isn't about seeing first. It's about stepping first, trusting that when you walk back toward God, He'll meet you with more love, more mercy, more power than you've ever known. The tears in His eyes are not disappointment. They are love. They are urgency. They are hope that you will say yes before the time slips away. The truth is, you've been in a battle for your identity. The enemy has been working overtime to convince you that you're not worthy of God's love, that your past is too messy, that your mistakes are too big, that your delay has made it impossible. But those are lies. All of them. God says you are still His, still chosen, still loved, still redeemable. Heaven hasn't closed its doors to you, but you must make a choice before this moment passes. Because windows of grace like this are rare, and when they close, they don't always reopen. Comment 777 if you're ready to step into the light again. This world is loud with distraction, and your heart has grown tired. You've been juggling too much, carrying burdens you were never meant to carry. Somewhere along the way, you started surviving instead of living. You stopped dreaming. You stopped believing that something greater could still happen for you. But God never stopped believing in you. He has been standing over your life, guarding you, even when you weren't guarding yourself. There were attacks that should have destroyed you, but they didn't. Do you know why? Because God stepped in. Because your name is still written in the palm of His hand. There are things that have happened to you that you don't talk about. Silent wounds, unspoken memories, internal scars that no one around you even knows exist. You've carried them alone because you didn't think anyone would understand. But God understood. He was there for every tear, every sleepless night, every moment you wondered if it was worth it to keep going. And now He's calling to you not to relive the pain, but to heal it, to replace it with something stronger, something eternal. Your silence has been misread as strength. You've been praised for how well you hold it together, but deep down, you've been breaking. God sees that. He knows the weight you carry. He knows how you smile while you're sinking. And He's not asking you to fake it anymore. He's asking you to bring it all to Him, raw, unfiltered, honest. He is not shocked by your struggle. He is moved by it. He is near to the brokenhearted, and He saves those who are crushed in spirit. Comment 999 if you believe He still has mercy left for you. There's something holy happening in your life right now. It may not feel like it. Everything may feel uncertain or even painful. But what if I told you that this moment of brokenness is actually the beginning of your breakthrough. That the pain you're feeling is not punishment, but preparation. That God is using this moment to bring you back into alignment with your destiny. Because you were made for more than just surviving. You were made to live, to walk in purpose, to shine in the darkness with the light of Christ inside of you. God's warning isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you, to pull you from the edge before you fall into something you can't get out of. You've been entertaining things that are draining your spirit voices, habits, people, patterns. And every time you've ignored that inner pull, you felt yourself grow a little more distant from God. But He hasn't left. He's just been waiting for you to stop running, waiting for you to finally get tired of the emptiness and come back to fullness. There is a peace that surpasses understanding, and it's waiting for you. There is a joy that doesn't depend on your circumstances. There is a strength that rises in your weakness. But none of these can be accessed while you're disconnected from the source. You've been trying to fix things in your own strength, and God is gently telling you, lay it down. Let me carry it. Let me fight for you. You don't have to earn His love. You don't have to perform for His approval. You already have it. That's what grace is. It's unearned, undeserved, and yet freely given. The enemy has tried to convince you that it's too late. But it's not. You're still here. You're still breathing. And as long as you have breath, you have a choice. You have a chance to turn around. This is your chance to come back to who you really are. Not the version of you that people expect. Not the version of you that hides behind walls. The real you. The child God formed before you were even born. The one He designed with purpose and filled with His Spirit. That version of you is still alive inside, and it's time to bring them back. Because the world needs your light. Your family needs your light. Your future needs your light. But most of all, your Father in heaven wants His child back. Don't let this pass you by. Don't ignore the tug on your heart. This is not just another word. This is divine alignment. This is heaven holding the door open one more time, and you get to decide whether to walk through it. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to say yes. Yes to healing. Yes to freedom. Yes to the God who has been trying to reach you for hours, for days, for years. God has not stopped reaching for you. But the window of grace doesn't stay open forever. That's what this warning is about. That's what has heaven in tears. You were made to walk in power, to walk in peace, to walk in purpose. But you've been drifting, caught in patterns that wear you down, caught in confusion. And the longer you ignore His voice, the easier it becomes to live numb. But God didn't design you for numbness. He made you for fire, for passion, for truth, for the kind of life that glows with His glory. Comment 10 if you know you were made for more than just getting by. The pain you've been feeling is a signal. It's not your end. It's your awakening. God has allowed certain things to shake around you, not to destroy your life, but to shake you loose from what's not meant to go with you. Some people were never supposed to follow you into your next chapter. Some habits were never meant to make it through the threshold, but you've held on too long. And now heaven is urging you, release it. Let it go. Surrender before it hardens your heart and silences the very voice that's trying to rescue you. This moment matters more than you realize, because spiritual warnings are not just signs. They are invitations. Invitations to realign, to refocus, to remember who you are. And who you are is not what life has made you feel. You're not too far gone. You're not too broken. You're not forgotten. You are still the one God formed in secret. You are still the one Jesus gave his life for. And the blood still speaks over you. It still covers you. But you must return. You must say yes before the storm that's been circling finds an open door. God doesn't warn out of anger. He warns out of mercy because he sees what you can't. He sees the path you're on and where it leads if you don't shift. That's why you've been feeling unsettled. That's why your spirit has been restless, because he's been trying to reach you, to spare you, to protect you. And that window is closing. Not because he's cruel, but because delay has a cost. And the longer you wait, the more ground the enemy takes. Comment 1515 if you're choosing to move forward with God. He's been speaking in whispers through songs that suddenly stirred your heart, through people who spoke words that pierced deeper than expected, through situations that forced you to pause. That wasn't coincidence. That was your Father trying every way he could to get your attention. But now the whisper has turned to a cry. Heaven is weeping, not because you failed, but because God still sees what's ahead of you. He sees the blessing, the breakthrough, the purpose, and he doesn't want you to miss it. You've settled long enough. Settled for pain. Settled for survival. Settled for silence when you were made to roar with truth. But it's time to rise, to come back to the one who knows your name. You've looked for peace in people who couldn't give it. You've searched for worth in achievements that couldn't satisfy. And all along, God has been whispering, "Come home. Come back to me." Not to religion, not to rules, but to relationship. To the sacred place where your soul is safe. This is not the time to harden your heart. This is not the time to pretend everything is fine. If you could see what heaven sees, you would fall to your knees and weep. Because the hand of God has been holding back things that were meant to destroy you. And he's not asking you to be perfect. He's just asking you to be honest. Honest about where you've drifted. Honest about where you've been hurting. Honest enough to say, "God, I need you." There are chains that can break today. There are doors that can open today. There are wounds that can heal today. But only if you respond. Only if you stop letting pride or fear or distraction keep you from the presence of the only one who can make you whole again. You've tried fixing things yourself, but peace never lasts that way. Only God gives peace that doesn't change with circumstances. You are not here by accident. This word is heaven's intervention. God's been watching you try to stay strong, but you were never called to carry it alone. That burden you've been dragging was never meant for your shoulders. He said, "Cast your cares upon me." And yet you've been holding it all, quietly breaking inside. Let it go. Give it to him. Lay it at his feet. There's healing in surrender. He is not tired of you. He is not frustrated with you. He is waiting for you. Like the father in the story of the prodigal son, he's been watching the road, hoping to see you coming home. And the moment you do, he's not bringing a lecture. He's bringing a robe, a ring, a feast. Because you were lost, but now you're found. Heaven doesn't want your performance. It wants your heart. Let this be the day you say yes. Let this be the day the cycle breaks. Let this be the day you stop running and start resting in him, with him, for him. There's still time. The door is still open, but it won't stay open forever. don't miss what was always yours because you waited too long to return. You know this is for you. You know your soul has been aching for this. Don't fight the pull. Don't silence the voice. You've been standing in a dangerous space, a space where your heart is close to giving up. Your faith is barely hanging on, and your soul is weary from pretending. But even there, in that quiet place of pain and confusion, God hasn't left. You may have pushed him away. You may have questioned his silence, but he's been present weeping, not because he's powerless, but because he's watching his child slowly forget who they are. That ache you've been carrying, it's his too. Comment 1717 if you're ready to return to who he created you to be. The enemy has been busy trying to convince you that you've wasted too much time, that you failed too many times, that the mistakes you made have disqualified you from walking in God's promises. But nothing could be further from the truth. What the enemy forgot is that grace doesn't expire. The blood of Jesus still covers you. The love of God still fights for you. And this isn't the end of your story. In fact, it's the moment it begins again, if you'll let it. God is not interested in punishing you. He's interested in pulling you back from the edge. Because while you've been carrying on with life, unaware of the danger forming around you, he has seen what's ahead. He's seen the traps being set. He's seen the heartbreak you don't see coming, and he's trying to stop it. Not by forcing your will, but by inviting your heart. Because love never demands, it invites. And right now, heaven is inviting you to return before destruction finds the door you left open. There's no peace outside his presence. You've tried to create your own peace. You've changed jobs, moved places, adjusted relationships, but the ache has followed you. Because peace isn't a place, it's a person. It's Jesus. And until he's in the center, everything else will keep falling apart. But here's the good news. He's not far. You don't have to fix yourself to find him. You just have to stop running and let him in. Right here, right now. Comment Amen if you believe peace is found in Jesus alone. There's something divine about surrender. It's not weakness. It's strength in its purest form. The moment you stop fighting and let God take over is the moment everything starts to change. You've been battling in your own strength for so long that you've forgotten how it feels to rest. But rest is holy. Rest is not quitting. It's trusting. It's letting God be God while you simply follow. It's laying down your sword and lifting your hands, not in defeat, but in faith. He's not asking you to understand everything. He's asking you to trust him even when you don't. Trust doesn't require all the answers. It just requires your heart. The longer you wait to give it, the heavier your burdens will feel. But he said, "Come to me, all who are weary, and I will give you rest." That was never a poetic phrase. It was a promise, and it still stands today for you. This moment is sacred. You may not realize it, but the atmosphere around you is shifting. Heaven is closer than it's ever been. The angels are watching. The Spirit is hovering, and God is leaning in, hoping this time you'll answer. Hoping this time you'll break the cycle. Hoping this time you'll say, "I'm done running." You don't need a church building. You don't need perfect words. You just need an open heart. Because the veil has been torn. The throne room is open and your Father is calling. You've spent too much time letting shame define you. but shame was never your name. You've let your past shape how you see your future. But God doesn't hold your past against you. He redeems it. He restores what was broken. He renews what was lost. And He still has plans for you. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. You just need to step out of the lies and into His truth. This is not just another day. This is not just another word. This is a divine appointment. You may not understand why the tears are forming in your eyes right now, or why your heart is beating faster, but your spirit does. Your soul knows this is the moment, that this is the voice you've been needing to hear. Not the voice of guilt, not the voice of fear, but the voice of your Father saying, "Come home. I've been waiting." Don't miss this. Don't let it slip through your fingers, because every time you ignore the voice, your heart grows colder. And the colder it gets, the harder it becomes to hear. But God in His mercy has brought you here one more time, one more chance. And He's saying, don't turn away. Don't let this be the moment you walk away from the miracle. The blessing is still waiting. The breakthrough is still yours. The healing is still possible. But it's all on the other side of surrender. You've prayed for a sign. You've asked for confirmation, and this is it. This is your wake-up call. This is your turning point. God is not finished with you, but you must choose Him, not just with your words, but with your life. There's nothing more powerful than a surrendered heart, a heart that says, even when it hurts, I'll trust you. Even when it's hard, I'll follow you. Even when I don't see the full picture, I'll walk by faith. That's what God is asking for. Not perfection, just surrender, just faith, just a heart that's willing. So what will you do? Will you stay where you are, numb and disconnected? Or will you return to the one who still has tears in His eyes, tears of love, tears of hope, tears that say, I never gave up on you. You've been waiting for the right time to change, to let go, to come back. But the right time isn't somewhere in the future. It's now. Delay has been costing you peace. Hesitation has been draining your strength. Every day you wait, you feel more distant, more unsure, more stuck. But what if this is the exact moment heaven had prepared for your return? What if this very second is the crack in the wall, the open door, the final invitation? Before everything shifts, comment 222. If you feel that this is your moment to trust Him again, this world will never offer what your soul needs. You already know that. You've tried it. You've chased approval, success, pleasure, escape, and yet your heart is still restless. The reason why is simple. You were not made to be filled by anything temporary. You were created for eternity, and only eternal things can satisfy a soul like yours. That hunger you felt all your life, it was always for God. You just didn't know how to feed it, but now you do. You feed it with surrender, with prayer, with presence, with obedience. And it starts with a decision. You don't need a perfect prayer. You don't need to know every Bible verse. You don't need to be spiritually mature or emotionally stable. You just need to say yes. Because God meets us at our weakest. He runs toward the lost. He draws close to the broken. His power is made perfect in your weakness, not in your strength. So if you feel unworthy right now, if you feel too far gone, too messy, too confused, then you are exactly the one He's looking for. God doesn't wait for you to clean yourself up before coming home. He just waits for you to come. The cleaning, the healing, the restoring, that's His job. Yours is just to say, I'm ready. And if you are right now, this very moment, you're not too late. His arms are still open. His love is still strong. His promises are still waiting. And all of heaven is leaning in, waiting to see how you will respond. Comment 1 if you believe this word is heaven sent and right on time. You don't have to go back to the way things were. That's not what God is asking. He's not calling you backward. He's calling you forward into something new, into a version of your life that's free from fear, free from guilt, free from shame. But stepping forward means releasing what's been holding you back. You can't hold on to what's broken and expect to walk into something whole. You've got to lay it down. The bitterness, the pride, the sin, the secret pain. Lay it down, because freedom doesn't come by carrying more. It comes by surrendering everything. There's a deeper life waiting for you, not just a better one, a deeper one. One where you're not tossed by the wind every time life changes. One where storms don't steal your peace. One where joy doesn't depend on your circumstances. That kind of life doesn't come from doing more or fixing everything. It comes from being rooted. Rooted in God's truth, rooted in His love, rooted in His word. That's what gives you strength that lasts. God isn't calling you to surface living. He's calling you into the deep, into the place where you walk by faith, not by sight. Where you trust Him even when the road is unclear. Where you obey even when it's hard. That's where real transformation happens. That's where healing begins. That's where chains fall and dead things come back to life. And He's inviting you there now, into the deep, into the holy, into the kind of relationship with Him that changes everything. You were never meant to blend in with this world. You were meant to carry His light. You were meant to walk in power. You were meant to stand out, not because of pride, but because of presence. His presence in you, His Spirit upon you. But that can only happen when you return to Him with your whole heart, not half, not in pieces, whole. He wants all of you, not to control you, but to restore you. It's time to take off the masks. Time to stop pretending you're fine when your soul is starving. Time to stop hiding the pain and calling it strength. Real strength is found in surrender. Real healing starts with truth. God is not afraid of your truth. He's not shocked by your struggle. He's not discouraged by your doubts. He sees through it all, and He still chooses, you still wants, you still waits for you. You're not reading this because it's a coincidence. You're reading this because God orchestrated every second that brought you here. And He's speaking through every word. He is saying, you don't have to keep living like this. Come to me. Let me show you what life looks like when you walk with me. This isn't about becoming religious. This is about becoming whole, becoming free, becoming the person you were always meant to be. And it all begins with one step saying yes. Saying, God, I trust you again. I choose you again. That one decision could shift everything. Don't wait. Don't hold back. God is here right now, and He's not going anywhere. Heaven is not silent. You are being pursued by the love that shaped the stars. This is not just a warning. It's an invitation soaked in divine mercy. God isn't pointing fingers. He's extending His hand. Through every moment of silence, through every closed door, every broken dream, He was leading you here. And now that you've arrived, you're faced with a choice that cannot be delayed anymore. Will you come home? Will you finally trust Him with what you've been trying to handle alone? Comment 333 to declare your faith again, even if it's only hanging by a thread. There's a battle going on over your life. Not just your plans, not just your day-to-day struggles, your soul. And that battle has intensified because your calling has always been a threat to darkness. The enemy doesn't fight what he's not afraid of. And he's afraid of you discovering who you really are. He's afraid of you returning to the presence of God. Because when you do, everything changes. Strongholds break chains, fall legacy shifts, and generations are healed. But the enemy can't win unless you give him space. And he's been creeping into the cracks you didn't guard. He's used your pain as a weapon, your loneliness as a foothold, your delays as a distraction. But no more. Not after today. Not after you've heard the truth this clearly. God has given you eyes to see and ears to hear. And once you've heard heaven's cry, you're responsible for how you respond. There's power in your yes. Don't underestimate it. When you say yes to God, heaven moves. Angels take position. The Spirit breathes life back into dry places. Your yes carries more weight than you know. It pulls you out of cycles that were designed to destroy you. It disconnects you from curses that ran through your family line. It sets new foundations, and even when you don't feel strong, your surrender invites God's strength to take over. Comment amen if you're ready for that shift to begin. There's been enough pretending, enough hiding. You've smiled for others while breaking in silence. You've put on strength while crumbling inside. And God is saying, that's not how you were made to live. You weren't created to fake it through life. You were created to walk in truth, in peace, in alignment. And real peace can only come when you stop running and start returning to the one who knows your heart better than you do. He knows the thoughts that keep you up at night. He knows the fear behind your decisions. He knows the memories that haunt you. And he's not intimidated by any of it. He wants it not so he can judge you, but so he can heal you. The broken parts, the confused parts, the parts of you that you've hidden from everyone else. That's the place he wants to touch. The part of you that still believes he's good, even when life hasn't been. You're not damaged goods. You're not beyond repair. You're not too far gone. You're a child of the living God. And he is calling you back with tears in his eyes, not out of disappointment, but out of deep, holy love. He misses the sound of your voice. He misses walking with you. He misses being the first name you call, not the last option you turn to when everything falls apart. And he still believes in you, even when you stop believing in yourself. Your purpose didn't vanish when you made mistakes. Your value didn't disappear when you drifted away. God doesn't define you by your past. He defines you by his promises. And his promises say, you are redeemed, restored, renewed. But you must step into that truth. You must stop agreeing with the enemy's lies and start standing on God's word. You are not disqualified. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are seen, known, loved, chosen. You've been wrestling with questions. What if I fail again? What if I come back and still feel empty? What if God's done with me? And to all of that, God is saying, come anyway. I'm not finished with you. He will walk with you through the healing, through the rebuilding, through the relearning of what it means to trust. You don't have to have it all together. You just need to come. Come broken. Come tired. Come confused. Just come. Every step toward God is a step away from what's been destroying you. Every moment in his presence begins to restore what life tried to take. And right now, His arms are still open. His voice is still calling. His heart is still for you. You're not here by accident. You're here because heaven knew this was the hour. This was the second. This was the final knock on the door before it closes. You've been fighting the same battles over and over because you haven't stepped fully into His presence. But the war can end. The cycle can break. The healing can begin. It all starts with your surrender, not a one-time prayer. A decision to follow even when it's hard. A decision to come back and stay. So what now? Now you stop making excuses. Now you stop saying one day and finally say today. Now you stop waiting for a sign and recognize that this is it. God's been trying to reach you for hours, for days, for years. This is your final chance before the next season arrives, and it's either going to build you or break you. Your answer matters. You're still here. That means your heart hasn't shut down completely. There's still something in you. Maybe small, maybe shaking, but it's still reaching, still hoping. That part of you is what God is speaking to. He knows you've been numb. He knows your soul has been worn thin. But He also knows your spirit is not dead. He put something in you that can't be stolen, only buried. And right now, He's uncovering it, gently pulling you out of the fog you've been living in. This is not the end. This is the return. God has been trying to reach you, not to scare you, not to condemn you, but to bring you back before the silence becomes separation. You've been slipping without realizing it. The habits you excused, the boundaries you blurred, the convictions you ignored. It didn't happen all at once. It started small. A little less prayer, a little more compromise, but heaven saw it. Heaven saw the drift. And instead of turning away, God leaned in closer with mercy, with love, with tears. Comment 55. If you feel like something deep inside you is waking up. You've been searching for something to steady you. And every time you think you found it, it breaks. People change. Circumstances shift. Promises fall through. You've tried to adapt to make it work, to convince yourself you're fine. But you're not. And that's okay, because God doesn't meet you in your strength. He meets you in your surrender. He's not asking you to keep pretending. He's asking you to be honest, to say, God, I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to come home. There's nothing weak about that. That's where true courage lives. In admitting that your way hasn't worked. In choosing to trust again, even after the disappointment, in daring to believe that God still has something beautiful left for you, even when you can't see it yet. That's the kind of faith that moves mountains. And that's the kind of faith God is drawing out of you right now. You've lost a lot. Maybe friends, maybe opportunities, maybe time. But what you haven't lost is your future. Because the God who wrote your beginning has already seen your ending. And He still calls it good. He still calls you chosen. You might feel broken, but heaven calls you beloved. You might feel like a failure, but God still calls you by your name. Not your mistake, not your weakness, your name. The one He wrote down before the foundations of the world. Comment Amen if you believe He still knows your name and your purpose. There's power in your presence. Not because of who you are, but because of who walks with you when you walk with God. And the enemy knows it. That's why the warfare against you has been so personal. That's why the pressure hasn't let up. The enemy wants you to believe that giving up is easier, that silence is safer, that keeping things buried is better than risking healing. But you know that's not true. You felt the weight of it. You felt what it costs to stay quiet, to stay numb, to stay away from God. But you don't have to stay there. That's the whole point. The warning came not to scare you, but to rescue you, to shake you awake before you go any further down a path you were never meant to walk. There's still time to turn around. Still time to return to the presence you used to feel. The fire you used to carry. The voice of God that used to whisper so clearly. He hasn't gone anywhere. He's just been waiting for you to slow down and notice. You've prayed before and nothing changed. You've cried out and still felt silence. That's made it harder to believe that this time could be different. But what if this time is the one that does change everything? What if the delay wasn't denial, but preparation? What if God was getting the ground ready, clearing the path, waiting for your heart to truly open? Not halfway, not only when you're desperate, but fully. What if everything starts moving when you move back into His presence? This isn't just about avoiding danger. It's about rediscovering who you really are.